Just crazy, ADHD, whatever. It's going to be interesting to see what happens for the rest of my existence because, you know, right now, what I'm experiencing is very, very interesting and different and exciting and challenging at the same time because I'm not working right now today because I chose to try and focus on creativity. When it's morning, I am most creative, okay? But then that's when I'm Uber and I can't do both. And then when I get home in the afternoon, I want to be creative. And it's difficult for me to get into a creative mindset. So I'm going to have to start making changes. I'm going to have to start perhaps, you know, what is it going to be like? Because if I get a different job and then I have late hours at night and then I have to sleep in and then I wake up and like, it's like, you understand the balance not going to be like the balance that I have right now. It's difficult to balance, but where I am at mentally, spiritually, emotionally, not economically, which is unfortunate. It's Smurf damn unfortunate that Uber and Lyft cannot responsibly recompense their drivers. Here's what should happen. Here's what should tell you how the system works. Here's what should tell you how the industry is not in favor of humanity. Uber and Lyft both underpay their constituents they call drivers, okay? We are not paid what we are worth. Now, if you talk to anybody who's been in the game for 10 years, that wasn't always the case. Drivers in years past were making hand over fist buckets of money, and now they're not. Why is that? You got to ask that question. Why is that? The other question is, why didn't those drivers, when they started seeing their money take a nosedive, why didn't they bail out of the app? Because if they had done that, then Uber and Lyft would have corrected themselves. That's how the market is driven. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's supply and demand. You need drivers, you better smurf and pay us, because that's the situation I'm in right now. And now I'm fighting a corporation and conglomeration and an industry that is already now by people who didn't know how to stand up for themselves or didn't have the balls to do that. And yet here I am with stone to do it, and everybody else is like, oh, you're not going to be able to win. Oh, you're not going to be able to win. Then you can just take a walk and keep your opinion to yourself. Because the way market is driven is, if you have a product and nobody wants it, you don't have anything to sell or offer. Don't. You just don't. If I have a product that I think is amazing and I like it and no one else wants it, it's not marketable. But if I have an item that is marketable, how am I going to build an audience, customers who will consume this product? What is going to be my mindset? I throw this back. This is the simplest way to think about it. If you go back in time, we're now back in the 1800s sometime. And we're in tumbleweed, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, California, tumbleweed, wherever. And I am going to, let's do this with, like, I'm Seth Bullock, right? I'm Seth, and What Star? What's his partner's? I know his first name. His last name is Star. Anyway, this is from Deadwood. Open a hardware store. Why? Because there's gold in them thar hills, and the township of Deadwood, South Dakota, has miners and pan and everything. So we can make some money here, Seth. Let's go out west. Open up a hardware store. Okay, great. We have things, we have assets that people will pay us money for. Ask yourself this question. How much money do I need to survive? Because that's all that's going to be driving the price above and over and above the cost of either purchasing it from someone else or building it myself. I can either make a pickaxe, I can either make a shovel, I can either make a hoe, I can either make a gold pan, I can either, whatever. I'm going to make that thing and then I'm going to sell it. And you're going to come and buy it because you want to find gold. If I overcharge you, are you going to pay me that? No. So I'm going to have to lower my price. I am not John D. Rockefeller. I am not Bill Gates. I am not these robber barons who are so consumed with monetary economic wealth. Okay? Monetary and economic wealth is intended to do one thing: enslave everyone else who isn't in control of the economy. Listen to that again. Economic wealth is intended to do one thing: enslave everyone else who's dependent upon that market. So we have to understand what are the checks and balances of a market. It's called supply and demand. In the real world, where people are people, so why should it be that you and I should get awfully? People are people. So why should it be you and I, different colors and we're different breeds and different people have different needs? It's obvious you hate me, though I've done nothing wrong. I've never even met you, so what could I have done? Try to understand. What makes a man hate another man? I don't hate. I hate no one. I hate no one. I hate no one. I don't even know you. I don't hate you. Neither am I going to get to the point of hating you afterwards. Now, anyone who operates in a way that is antithetical to serenity and peace and balance, that person hates other people. John D. Rockefeller, Bill Gates, any corporation, any corporation. Because for a corporation like Hair Cuttery and Ulta Beauty and Joanne Fabrics and Staples and Dick's and TJ Maxx, they don't care about you. They do not care about you. They care about the bottom dollar. And they're going to do whatever it takes to make as much as they can at your expense. I'm just going to drive around the parking lot until I get this out. Okay? So I'm pissed off. I am absolutely triggered. Maybe I should just park. I'm absolutely just triggered by the existence that I experience right now, because this is not the way it should be. So, to Seth Bullock in Deadwood, South Dakota. If he and Mr. Starr overcharge their constituents, their customers, they're not going to have customers. So you have to then assume, you have to then begin at the beginning. Both Mr. Starr and Mr. Bullock sit down and they say, okay, we're going to create this business. What is it that you want? I simply want a roof over my head. I simply want maybe a small piece of land where I can have a garden, maybe some animals, whatever. I just want enough for that. That's all I need. Well, guess what? Then you're going to have to create a business that will be able to sustain that. Whatever that business might be. So you are going to consider the cost and time that it will require for you to acquire these things that you sell. Axes, pickaxe, saws, pans, hip boots, waist boots, overalls, you name it, right? It's just it's more than a store, right? It's like Ollie's. Get stuff cheap. So it's understandable, right? It's understandable that someone comes in and says, hey, Mr. Bullock, why are your pickaxes this price? Now, mind you, he's the only hardware store in Deadwood. No one else. Monopoly. Why are your pickaxes so expensive? Oh, great question. Great question. Thanks for asking. First of all, we don't make any of these. We have to ship out for them. We have to order them from someone else. And that costs us $2. So, in order for us to have a lifestyle, I can't simply exchange cost for cost. I can't sell you this pickaxe for $2. Well, why can't you do that, Mr. Bullock? Because then I wouldn't have any money for myself to buy something that I might need, like food. So then I have to increase what I am going to say is the price for this axe by 50 cents. So now it's $2.50, or it's $3, or it's $4. Whatever the balance is, right? So now let's say, for instance, well, why do you need 50 cents? Like what kind of a house do you live in? Well, do you see that big mansion up there? You know how much it costs to live in that mansion? You have to fund me so that I can pay for all of those bells and whistles. I'd be like, no, I don't. You need to get a smaller house. I'm not going to buy any of your shenanigans, right? I'm not going to buy any from you because you are greedy. You don't understand balance. And when you don't balance and you're greedy, I'm going to suffer because I'm the one who has to purchase from you whatever it is I might need. And that goes across the board for anything. For anything. Everything that we want or desire has a price tag. And that price tag ultimately is priced by time. Time keeps on slipping into the future. When you go to work, you are giving your time for a paycheck. How much is time worth? Because if you have $1,800 of rent each month, you have to make at least $1,800 from your job in a month. But that's only expense, is it? What other expenses do you have? What other expenses do you have that you don't need? Get rid of those. Have more money. So you have to eliminate. You can't just say, oh, I want to go out and party every night, so therefore you got to pay me at work 3 times as much. They're like, no, we don't. But at the same time, that's balance. It's like, when I was in the restaurant business as a server, the turnover was all the time. Why? Because you can get a serving job anywhere. And basically they all pay the same. There's like the only way that you're going to make more as a server is if you work in a place that has high volume and where there is probably a higher cost value. And then you're only going to have a certain amount of clientele, right? Because only a certain amount of people go over to the fancy place like Liberatores, right? Where their dishes are more expensive than First Watch or from Outback or from Miller's. But my point is, even in the trucking industry, the turnover was always happening, always happening, always happening. Why? Because no one is happy. What would make you happy? Making enough money not to get 2 jobs, not to get 3 jobs, not to get 4 jobs. Why do you have 4 jobs? Because the cost of living is so insane. How insane is it, Travel? I'll tell you how insane it is. The cost of living is so insane that I'm making less a day than my mother made 40 years ago. And the cost of living now is at least 3 to 4 times more expensive. How does that work? I don't know if you've ever thought about that. My mother, when I was a teenager, was able to take us on vacations. I never took my children on vacations. Why? Because I didn't make enough money. I would have had to possibly 2 or 3 jobs, which would have meant a 9 to 5, and then perhaps a 6 to 11, and then I have 5 hours of sleep. That's not healthy. Oh, but you can do it. Travel, you can do it. No. That's not healthy. My health is asset. If I'm not healthy, I might get sick and then have to call out for, you see how this all works? Okay? I should not. No one you know should have to have more than 1 occupation. And that occupation should be their discretion. They could be a nurse, they could be a doctor, they could be a bus driver for a school system, whatever it is. And that bus driver should pay just as much as the doctor, right? There's no reason, there is absolutely zero reason for doctors and athletes and musicians to be making buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets of money at your expense. So, a needle pulling thread. I am in the personal transportation business industry. That is taxi services. Taxi services. Uber and Lyft are glorified taxis. And yet, I'm making less than, if not $25 an hour. And I have to bust my ass to do that. Now, I don't mind doing that because I actually love this occupation. I am a very customer-oriented persona. I love entertaining people. I love engaging people. I love conversing. That's not a word. That's another pet peeve of mine. Oh, do you want to conversate with me? I'm sorry, do a verse with you? Yes. Conversate? I don't know what that word is. And yet it's going to appear in the freaking dictionary soon because people use it all the time, kind of like irregardless. But I digress. I have amazing conversations that are very rewarding, very, very engaging, very just energetic, happy. I have amazing experiences. Why can I not make a living doing this? Why 2 days ago did I make $30 an hour in 5 hours? I've never done that before. And it didn't happen the next day. And it didn't happen the day before because the day before it was dead. That's impossible. I live in a county with hundreds of thousands of people. It is impossible that I should sit for an hour with no offers. It's insane. No way. No way. No way. What that means is that whoever is driving Uber and Lyft, they are in control of how I get offers. Do you understand that? They can withhold offers from me or give them out. They can give me high-paying offers, which is what they did 2 days ago. Why? Because I started at the same time I do every day, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I worked for 5 hours and made as much as I should make in. That's not a fluke. That's not a fluke. That's controlling the market and like creating dissonance in my mind. Why can't I make? Like I wouldn't have that imbalance. You see what happens here? That's imbalance. So here's trying to bring was going to go before. Everything that Uber and Lyft does that's not simply taking you from location to the next, they should get rid of. There's no surge times. There's no hot zones. You know, the reason why I've had conversations with riders, there's no reason why the same ride one day should cost almost twice as much another day at the same time. Zero. Why? I don't get that. I didn't set that price. And yet, the consumer paid it. Stop paying those obscene rates. That's how you control the market. I'm not going to use Uber. I'm not going to use Lyft. Who else you gonna use? Me. Oh, driver. That's me. You call me. You tell me. If I'm available, my rate is $1 a minute in this economy. Oh, that's too expensive, Trav-EL. Okay, then go to Uber and Lyft. In order for me to exist in a healthy, balanced existence, I require $1 a minute. How much is your time worth? If I'm a bar, hit on you, and said, hey, let's go spend some time together somewhere, and I mean bowling or a movie, and you're like, nah, I'm not really interested, and I said, I'll pay you $500. You'd be like, what movie are we going to go see? You see what just happened right there? See what just happened? I turned the conversation into a marketable enterprise. You didn't want to go on a date with me. He's not good looking enough. He's not tall enough. He's not dark and handsome enough. Whatever. I don't care about that stuff. My point I'm making is your time has a price value on it. I'm asking you, well, how much is your time? How much is your time worth? Do you even know? Because your time is how much you get paid. That's how much time you're worth. Right? So if you make $25 an hour, your time is worth 50 cents a minute. That's pretty simple. Right? Can you survive on that? No, I can't survive on that. I need more money. Right. So there are things that are there are elements to Uber and Lyft that are completely erroneous, superfluous, unnecessary. They have nothing to do with getting you from point A to point B. Nothing. There's no rating system. And yet I get rated. I get threatened by Uber. One more complaint and you're going to lose your driving privileges. I'm sorry. No. No, incorrect. But I can't talk to anyone about that. They don't have an HR. I can't talk to anyone about that because there's no one at Uber who's a human being. I've never found one. Can you find one? I dare you. I'll pay you $10,000. If you can go onto Uber right now, find a number that's a human being. I'll make that bet. I don't have $10,000, but you know what? I'm going to win that bet. So then you owe me $10,000. I can't find a human on Lyft, and Lyft has eliminated 28 days in the past months of my driving with no recompense, no responsibility, no accountability. That's the world we live in. I wouldn't treat you that way. Would you treat me that way? No. So why do we let these corporations? Because you are used to convenience. You're lazy. I'm lazy sometimes. I am. I don't microwave my food, but I'm lazy. We need to be able to create a sustainable existence where everyone has not the same, I'm not trying to say that, where everyone is able to live in a sensible balance. And do you know how many people want to just be simple? I'm one. Why do you kill yourself in the law firm 80 hours a week? Why? What is it that you need that you have to deplete yourself of time that way? I don't want to do that. If I could snap my fingers and be anywhere I wanted to be, wherever that place is, it would simply be a place with a shelter and a place for me to recreate reasonably and then also cultivate, right? I want to grow my own food. I want to be able to relax on my own property, a hammock maybe. I don't need a fucking, I don't need a smurfing infinity pool. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, that's extreme. Like, you know where you can have an infinity pool? Or wherever that, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong concept, but you know these long pools where it creates a flow of water against you, and you can swim against the water, and it'll be like you're swimming through a channel. You're swimming on the ocean, right? Because you've got the current, and then you're fighting against the current. Well, I mean, if you wanted that naturally, find a river. Find a river. That's a natural pool that you can do that in. Now, I get it, right? I get it. Okay, my off. Like we have to be like you're talking about like what are you talking about, man? Like fuck, what's the economic philosophy that I'm thinking of? It's not communism to a certain extent, right? Because community. Going back to Deadwood, everyone there is on the same, like, if you watch Deadwood, you have different expressions of ideologies, and Al Swearingen is a tyrant. Swearingen is a robber baron. He is not in his business for your benefit, but his. He will overcharge you for whores. He will overcharge you for the liquor. He will take too much from the game tables for poker and all that kind of stuff, right? Because he's greedy. Greedy. I'm not greedy. You're not greedy. We wouldn't treat each other this way. I'm not saying that we have to have the same possess. I'm not saying that we have to have the same car in this day and age. You know what I mean? Not what I'm saying. Now, I started thinking about, for the first time, I might have to get a second job. And I don't want to do that. Why? Because I'm happy, right? Today, I took off time and I went to go and I had to decompress. And I went and did yoga for an hour. And it was amazing, and I feel amazing. I'm here expressing in that amazement and that energy whatever is on my mind right now, because We don't live in a natural world. We live in a matrix. We live in a construct. We are rats in a maze that we didn't create. And it drives us crazy. And some of us kill themselves. Some of us kill other people. I've never met anybody I don't know anybody who's taken their own life or the life of another person, but we see it in the news, right? Whatever. Why do people do that? Because the world that has been created to eliminate people like that, and to drive you and me to the point to where we think about doing things like that. Because we live in a world that is driven by greed, avarice. There is no reason why my brand or my concept should not be able to be given a fair shake in the market. I would put a serious dent in the industry of personal transportation that Uber and Lyft would feel. They would say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? Why is our volume dipping so low in Harford County, Maryland? What's going on? There's a third party. That's what's going on. And people are using my services, and I get people calling me when I can't do it because only one person. I can only be in one place at a time. But I have people saying, this is a great idea. Can I call you? Yeah, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be available. There's no reason why an app that would operate and function the way GPS does, the way security does, like you know where I am. People know, well, people don't know where we are, but when you see on the screen coming towards you like you do with Uber and Lyft, or I know that the driver, although that's not even real. You know why it's not real? Because I got to someone's house yesterday and waited for 4 minutes and finally said to the person, you still need a ride. He came out here, he's like, the app said that you were like 5 minutes away. So it's not even accurate. And yet you people pay for that service. Stop paying. Stop using Uber and Lyft. Stop. Stop it. But you won't, because it's convenient. Even though they gouge you at certain surge times, which has nothing to do with you or me. Zero. Oh, that's just the way it is, travel. That's just the industry. Smurf the industry. Smurf the industry. The industry does not care about you. It does not care about me. This world needs an enema. And my children are growing up in a world where they don't understand economics. They don't understand money. They don't understand the concept. They don't want to either, because they think it's a conspiracy theory. I should be able to create food, stuffs, pills. I should be able to create hair products and health products without regulation. But I can't. I can take the things that I've created and just show up at a farmer's market and open a table up and say, try my stuff. I can't do that. I can't. I don't have permission. What do I need permission for? I could do it in my front yard. I could do it in my front yard, just like Sally and her lemonade stand next door, except she's 10. I could set up signs all around Harford County and put my address on, or put a QR code, right? Somebody scan here, like nobody knows what it is. Or you know what, here's IHateBigG.com, right? Or whatever I want. I hate Big G. And people who hate Big G be like, ooh, what's this all about? Scan. And then they see my website and I say, I'm an independent entrepreneur, business creator, content creator, crafts creator, food creator. If you would like to find out more, I don't know, whatever, 6 to 6, right? I mean, everything's in the house. Just come to the yard, whatever, right? Just come to that address. What do you want? Oil? You want mustache wax? You want deodorant? You want whatever. And then just wait for that to come. And then hopefully drive by, just like a yard sale, right? Just like on Saturday mornings, people drive around. Maybe I should say yard sale on Saturday and start getting people to come traffic and be like, where's the yard? I'm selling things here on my yard. What would you like? Well, I'm looking for a 2x... No, I don't have 2x4s. Well, I'm looking for a recliner... No, I don't have recliner. You sell, my friend? Well, I sell health products, beauty products, food stuffs. You know, what do you like kombucha, right? Fermented drinks, right? I mean, maybe that's what I should do. Talking this out loud. I'm saying this out loud right now. So now the universe is now... I am now saying to self, are you listening to yourself? Put out ads, put out flyers around the neighborhood Saturday. Foodstuffs for sale, health products for sale, which then means that I would have to have those things made and perfected and ready to go, which I don't. I'm not ready for it. I'm just saying it, just talking out loud. That's what I need to do. I don't need to go to the farmer's market. I don't need to go to the farmer's market. I do not need to go to the farmer's market. Why? Because I'm going to run up against bureaucracy, policy, statute, coercion, and extortion. Listen very carefully. Right now, I'm in a parking lot that is public. Anybody can come onto this parking lot. Right now, as far as I know, I could probably just put a table out and people will come by. So what's going on here? Well, I'm just trying to sell some things, just trying to generate some interest. Like, why wouldn't I be able to do that? Until Mr. Policy Enforcer comes by, twirling his baton, wearing his taser, wearing his 9mm, wearing his body armor. Well, I'm not armed. I don't have a taser. Like, what is this? So why is it then that I can't go to a public parking lot on Saturday and simply do the same thing? Oh, no, you have to have permission. Okay, may I? Well, sure, you certainly may after you pay us. I'm sorry, for what? This is a public space. I'm not taking up any more space than a car, and that's free on these days. So why are you like an exorbitant amount? Like, what is that money for? Right? Because I'm not above not paying for services rendered. What service are you rendering in this public space, right? If I came to this space on Sunday after 6 o'clock or whatever, no charge to be on this lot. There's no toll. There's no coercion. There's no extortion. You and I are simply not strong or to stand up to these bureaucratic tyrants, including your neighbor who lives right next to you. Your neighbor who'll come over and share a glass of wine with you will be the same neighbor when you go to the MVA who will say, you owe $250 for this ticket. And they don't even blink an eye. Oh, it's just my job, Trav-EL. just my job, man. I'm just not, a messenger, man. I'm just, no. You're an agent. You have a mind. Think about what you're doing to me. Think about what you're doing to me. Oh, well, you violated policy. Okay, back the truck up. And I don't have time to keep doing it. Whew. This world is not what you think it is in so many different ways. We all live in a yellow submarine. We all live in a toxic, poisonous system, like a large pond that has no outflow, right? It has input, or maybe not even that. Maybe not even that. Because if you have input, it's going to vent out. So we just live in a pond that has water in it, and yet there's just caked with algae and all of this just pollution. And we can't breathe well, we can't run well, we can't swim well, we can't sex well, we can't sing well. Our environment kills us on a just regular basis, just radiates all the time with death in terms of where we live is so unhealthy. So much so that if you went to if I could just say, okay, look, just give me a month. Let me take you to Tumbleweed, Oklahoma and show you called vacation, right? That's why people go on vacation, because they want to get out of the toxicity. They go like, oh my God, it's so amazing. Denver's so beautiful. The mountains, this is just beautiful. Isn't that beautiful, honey? Too bad we have to go back to the toxicity in 2 weeks. No, you don't. No, you don't. I think if you could experience life in the simplicity in which it was intended to exist and be experienced, I don't think you would ever go back to your corporate job. I don't want to. Look, as much as I like doing Lyft, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do anything for money. I don't want to need money. And it's possible to get there. I just have to start now and figure out what's going to be the best avenue for me to deploy. And I have tons of ideas, but the system is rigged so that my ideas cost way more than I have enough money to invest. That's insane. Okay. There's a kiss for you. This has been another extremely, hopefully, invigorating adventure of Travel Mateus Findlay. I'm your host, Travel Mateus. Until next time.